Sarah Martinez never imagined that growing up hunting deer in the mountains of Colorado would prepare her for becoming one of the most elusive military operatives in modern warfare. Born to a family of ranchers, she learned to shoot before she could properly tie her shoes. Her father, a Vietnam veteran, taught her that patience and precision were more valuable than speed and aggression. At 18, Sarah enlisted in the Navy with dreams of serving her country. She excelled in basic training, but it was her exceptional marksmanship scores that caught the attention of her commanding officers. During a routine training exercise, she consistently hit targets at distances that impressed even veteran instructors. Her calm demeanor under pressure and natural ability to remain unseen made her a perfect candidate for specialized training. The path to becoming a Navy SEAL was grueling. Sarah faced skepticism from male counterparts who questioned whether a woman could handle the physical and mental demands of elite military operations. She proved them wrong during Hell Week, where she not only completed every challenge but often outperformed her male colleagues. Her instructors noted her unique ability to blend into any environment, earning her the nickname Ghost among her training class. After completing SEAL training, Sarah was assigned to a classified unit specializing in long-range reconnaissance and elimination missions. Her first deployment took her to Afghanistan, where Taliban forces controlled vast mountainous regions. Intelligence reports indicated high-value targets operating from remote compounds, requiring surgical precision to eliminate without civilian casualties. Sarah's first mission involved infiltrating a Taliban stronghold to eliminate a bomb maker responsible for attacks on coalition forces. She spent 3 days moving through treacherous terrain, carrying minimal equipment, and surviving on water and energy bars. Her training in camouflage and stealth allowed her to position herself within striking distance of the target compound undetected. The compound sat on a rocky outcrop surrounded by steep cliffs and narrow pathways. Sarah identified a vantage point on an adjacent mountain peak, approximately 800 meters from her target. She established her hide site before dawn, carefully arranging rocks and vegetation to create perfect concealment. Her ghillie suit, customized with local flora, made her virtually invisible against the mountainous backdrop. For 12 hours, Sarah remained motionless, observing the compound through her scope. She documented guard rotations, identified potential escape routes, and waited for the perfect opportunity to engage her target. The bomb maker appeared briefly on a balcony during the afternoon, but civilians were present, making the shot too risky. As evening approached, intelligence chatter indicated the target would attend a meeting in a specific room facing Sarah's position. She adjusted her scope for wind speed and elevation, calculating the precise adjustments needed for the long-distance shot. When the target finally appeared in the window, Sarah took a deep breath, steadied her rifle, and squeezed the trigger. The shot was perfect. The high-value target was eliminated instantly, and Sarah immediately began her extraction. She moved quickly but carefully down the mountain, avoiding established trails and using natural cover to mask her movement. Taliban fighters responded within minutes, searching the area frantically for the shooter's position. Sarah's extraction point was 3 kilometers away, requiring her to navigate through hostile territory while enemy forces conducted an active search. She used her knowledge of guerrilla tactics, moving in short bursts and utilizing terrain features to avoid detection. Several times, she had to remain completely still while enemy patrols passed within meters of her position. The extraction was successful, and Sarah returned to base without being spotted or identified. Intelligence reports from the area indicated that Taliban forces were convinced the shot came from a different direction entirely. They never suspected that a single operator had infiltrated so close to their stronghold and executed such a precise elimination. Word of Sarah's successful mission spread quickly through military intelligence circles. Her ability to remain undetected while achieving mission objectives made her invaluable for high-risk operations. Command began assigning her increasingly difficult missions, each requiring greater levels of stealth and precision. Her second major operation took place in Iraq, where insurgent forces had established a network of safe houses in urban areas. Sarah's target was a foreign fighter who had orchestrated several attacks on American convoys. The challenge was eliminating the target in a densely populated city, without revealing her position or causing civilian casualties. Sarah spent weeks studying the target's patterns, learning his daily routines, and identifying vulnerable moments. She established multiple hide sites throughout the city, rotating between them to avoid detection while maintaining surveillance on key locations. Her ability to blend into urban environments proved just as effective as her mountain camouflage skills. The elimination took place during a brief moment when the target emerged from a building to speak with associates. Sarah, positioned on a rooftop 400 meters away, made the shot and immediately began moving to a predetermined extraction point. Local security forces responded quickly, but they focused their search on ground level, never suspecting the shot came from above. Sarah's reputation within JSOC continued to grow with each successful mission. Intelligence analysts noted that her targets seemed to simply disappear. With no evidence pointing to specific military action, enemy forces began developing theories about supernatural intervention, unable to comprehend how their leadership was being systematically eliminated without any witnesses or physical evidence. The nickname, Sacred Phantom, emerged from intercepted communications between enemy forces. They spoke of a ghost-like presence that could strike anywhere without warning, leaving no trace of its passage. Some insurgent groups began incorporating protective rituals and religious ceremonies, believing they were facing something beyond conventional military capabilities. Sarah's commanding officers recognized the psychological impact her operations were having on enemy morale. The mere possibility of her presence in an area caused insurgent leaders to alter their behavior patterns, making them more paranoid and less effective in their planning. This psychological warfare aspect became an integral part of her mission parameters. Sarah's reputation as the Sacred Phantom reached new heights during her third deployment to Syria, where complex urban warfare and shifting alliances created an environment perfect for her specialized skills. Intelligence identified a high-value target coordinating arms shipments to multiple terrorist organizations. The target operated from a heavily fortified compound in a city controlled by hostile forces. The mission required Sarah to infiltrate deep into enemy territory and remain undetected for an extended period. She entered the city, disguised as a refugee, carrying minimal equipment and relying on cached supplies positioned by advanced reconnaissance teams. Her ability to speak Arabic and understand local customs allowed her to blend seamlessly into the civilian population. Sarah established a hide site in the ruins of a bombed-out building overlooking the target compound. She spent days observing guard rotations, noting security weaknesses, and waiting for the optimal engagement opportunity. The target rarely appeared in open areas, preferring to conduct business from secured interior rooms. Intelligence reports indicated the target would attend a meeting with regional commanders on the compound's rooftop. This presented Sarah's best opportunity, but the shot would be extremely challenging due to distance and environmental factors. She positioned herself in a concealed location 1,200 meters away, using advanced optics to maintain visual contact with the target area. The meeting took place during a sandstorm that reduced visibility and created unpredictable wind patterns. Sarah had to calculate constantly changing variables while maintaining her hidden position. When the target finally appeared on the rooftop, she had less than 30 seconds to make the shot before he returned inside. Sarah's training took over as she adjusted for wind drift and atmospheric conditions. The shot required perfect timing and execution, as any error would result in mission failure and potential compromise of her position. She controlled her breathing, steadied her rifle, and fired at the precise moment when all variables aligned. The elimination was successful, but the sandstorm provided perfect cover for Sarah's extraction. She moved through the city using predetermined routes, avoiding security checkpoints and blending with civilians evacuating the area. Her escape route took her through underground tunnels and abandoned buildings, eventually reaching an extraction point outside the city. Enemy forces launched a massive search operation, convinced that the shot came from a rival faction or foreign military unit. They never suspected that a single operator had penetrated their security and executed such a precise elimination under challenging conditions. Intelligence intercepts revealed increasing paranoia among terrorist leadership about the phantom presence threatening their operations. Sarah's success rate and ability to remain undetected led to her assignment to a joint task force targeting high-value individuals across multiple theaters of operation. Her missions took her to diverse environments, from desert compounds to jungle hideouts to urban centers. Each operation required her to adapt her tactics while maintaining her signature invisibility. During an operation in the Philippines, Sarah was tasked with eliminating a terrorist leader hiding in dense jungle terrain. The target moved frequently between camps, making him difficult to locate and engage. Sarah spent weeks tracking his movement patterns, establishing multiple observation posts throughout the jungle. The elimination took place during a brief window when the target visited a forward operating base to inspect weapons shipments. Sarah positioned herself in a tree canopy 600 meters away, using natural vegetation to create perfect concealment. The shot required her to calculate for humidity, wind patterns through dense foliage, and the target's brief exposure time. After the successful elimination, Sarah used predetermined escape routes through the jungle, avoiding pursuit teams and reaching her extraction point without detection. Local forces searched for weeks but found no evidence of foreign military presence. The target's associates attributed his death to rival factions, never suspecting international intervention. The psychological impact of Sarah's operations continued to grow as enemy organizations struggled to protect their leadership from an invisible threat. Intercepted communications revealed increasing discussion about supernatural forces and divine intervention. Some groups began altering their operational procedures, making their leadership less accessible and reducing their effectiveness. Sarah's commanding officers recognized the strategic value of maintaining her phantom status. They carefully selected missions that would enhance the mystery surrounding her operations while achieving critical intelligence objectives. Her ability to eliminate high-value targets without leaving evidence became a powerful tool for destabilizing enemy networks. A particularly challenging mission took Sarah to North Africa, where a terrorist financier operated from a heavily secured compound in a remote desert location. The target rarely left his fortress, and the facility was surrounded by multiple security rings and advanced surveillance equipment. Traditional military approaches would likely result in significant casualties and international complications. Sarah infiltrated the area disguised as a Bedouin trader, spending weeks establishing her presence in the region without arousing suspicion. She used traditional desert survival skills, learned during specialized training, to move undetected across vast open terrain. Her ability to navigate by stars and natural landmarks allowed her to operate without electronic equipment that might be detected. The target's compound sat atop a rocky mesa, providing natural defensive advantages and clear sightlines in all directions. Sarah identified a position on an adjacent hill that offered the necessary angle for engagement while remaining outside the compound's security perimeter. She established her hide site during a sandstorm, using the natural disturbance to mask her movement. For 5 days, Sarah remained in position, observing the compound and waiting for her target to present himself. The desert environment tested her endurance and camouflage skills, as temperatures fluctuated dramatically between day and night. She rationed water carefully and used specialized equipment to minimize her thermal signature. The engagement opportunity came when the target emerged onto a balcony to conduct a satellite phone conversation. Sarah had less than 2 minutes to make the shot before he returned inside. The distance was 900 meters across windy desert terrain, requiring precise calculations for atmospheric conditions and bullet trajectory. Sarah's shot was perfect, and she immediately began her extraction across the desert. She used wadi systems and rock formations to mask her movement, avoiding search teams that responded quickly to investigate the incident. Her knowledge of desert survival allowed her to reach her extraction point without being detected or leaving tracks that could be followed. Intelligence reports from the region indicated that the target's organization believed he was killed by rival groups or government forces. They never suspected that a foreign operator had penetrated their security and executed such a precise elimination from extreme range. The incident further enhanced the legend of the Sacred Phantom among terrorist organizations worldwide. The legend of the Sacred Phantom reached its peak during Sarah's final deployment, a mission that would test every skill she had developed throughout her career. Intelligence identified a master terrorist coordinator operating from a mountain fortress in a region where multiple extremist groups converged. This individual had orchestrated attacks across 3 continents and represented the highest priority target on JSOC's elimination list. The fortress was built into a mountainside, utilizing natural caves and artificial tunnels to create an impregnable defensive position. Multiple terrorist organizations provided security, creating layered defenses that had successfully repelled previous military operations. The target rarely left his mountain stronghold, and when he did, he traveled with extensive security details through unpredictable routes. Sarah's mission parameters were unlike any she had previously encountered. She would need to infiltrate the mountain region, establish long-term surveillance, and wait for an opportunity that might not present itself for months. The operation required her to live off the land while maintaining constant readiness for immediate action. She entered the region through a neighboring country, traveling as a documentary filmmaker researching traditional mountain cultures. Her cover identity was supported by months of preparation, including learning local dialects and customs that would allow her to interact with indigenous populations without arousing suspicion. The mountain terrain was treacherous, with steep cliffs, narrow paths, and unpredictable weather patterns. Sarah used her mountaineering skills to establish multiple cache sites throughout the region, hiding equipment and supplies that would sustain her during extended periods of surveillance. She identified several potential hide sites that offered views of the fortress while remaining outside the extensive security perimeter. For 3 months, Sarah lived in the mountains, observing the fortress and documenting security procedures. She noted guard rotations, supply deliveries, and communication patterns that revealed the target's operational schedule. Her presence went completely undetected, as she moved like a ghost through terrain that local security forces considered impossible to penetrate unobserved. The target's paranoia had increased significantly due to previous Sacred Phantom operations. Intelligence intercepts revealed his belief that supernatural forces were hunting terrorist leadership, and he had implemented extensive protective measures based on local spiritual traditions. These precautions actually made him more predictable, as they followed ritualistic patterns that Sarah could anticipate. The engagement opportunity came during a rare ceremonial gathering, where the target would address Allied commanders from an exposed platform overlooking the valley. Sarah positioned herself on a distant peak 1,400 meters away, using specialized equipment to account for the extreme range and challenging environmental conditions. The shot would be the most difficult of Sarah's career, requiring perfect calculation of wind patterns, air density at high altitude, and the target's brief exposure time. She had spent weeks studying weather patterns and atmospheric conditions, preparing for this single moment when all variables would align. As the ceremony began, Sarah controlled her breathing and focused her concentration on the target. The distance was beyond normal engagement parameters, but her years of experience and intimate knowledge of her weapon system gave her confidence in the shot's feasibility. When the target appeared on the platform, she had approximately 40 seconds before he would return to secured areas. Sarah's shot crossed the valley in perfect silence, striking the target with surgical precision. The elimination was instantaneous, and the ceremony immediately dissolved into chaos as security forces scrambled to locate the shooter's position. Sarah used the confusion to begin her extraction, moving quickly through predetermined escape routes. The extraction was the most challenging phase of the mission, as multiple security forces converged on the area, while Sarah navigated treacherous mountain terrain. She used her knowledge of local geography and weather patterns to stay ahead of pursuit teams, eventually reaching an extraction point where a covert helicopter retrieved her under cover of darkness. Intelligence reports from the region revealed unprecedented confusion among terrorist organizations following the target's elimination. Security forces searched for weeks but found no evidence of foreign military presence. The impossible nature of the shot from such extreme range convinced many that supernatural intervention had occurred. The Sacred Phantom legend reached mythical proportions, as terrorist organizations worldwide struggled to comprehend how their most protected leaders continued to be eliminated, without any evidence of conventional military action. Some groups abandoned traditional operational patterns entirely, becoming less effective as they focused on spiritual protection rather than practical security measures. Sarah's successful completion of this final mission marked the end of her operational career as the Sacred Phantom. Intelligence analysts noted that her operations had eliminated dozens of high-value targets, while maintaining perfect operational security. No enemy force had ever successfully identified her presence or linked her to any specific elimination. The psychological impact of her operations extended far beyond individual eliminations. Terrorist organizations worldwide altered their behavior patterns, making their leadership less accessible and reducing their operational effectiveness. The mere possibility of Sacred Phantom presence in any region caused significant changes in enemy planning and execution. Sarah's transition from active operations to training and mentorship marked the beginning of a new chapter in her military career. She began developing training programs that would prepare future operators for similar deep cover operations, sharing her expertise in long-range precision shooting, advanced camouflage techniques, and psychological warfare tactics. Her methods became part of classified training curricula used to prepare the next generation of special operations personnel. However, the specific techniques that made her so effective remained closely guarded secrets, known only to a select few within the special operations community. Years after her final mission, intelligence intercepts still occasionally referenced the sacred phantom legend. Terrorist organizations continued to discuss supernatural threats and implement protective measures against spiritual intervention. Sarah's operational legacy had become permanently embedded in enemy consciousness, creating lasting psychological effects that continued to influence terrorist behavior patterns. The true extent of Sarah's impact on global counterterrorism operations remained classified, but senior military officials understood that her unique combination of technical skill and psychological warfare had fundamentally altered the landscape of modern special operations. She had proven that a single operator, properly trained and equipped, could achieve strategic effects traditionally requiring large-scale military intervention. Sarah's story became a closely held legend within the special operations community, inspiring future generations of warriors while maintaining the operational security that had made her so effective. The Sacred Phantom had achieved something unprecedented in modern warfare, becoming invisible not just during operations, but throughout her entire career, leaving only results and legends as evidence of her extraordinary service to her country.